Yeah, I got admission all right. I was handed English, linguistics, and then something. And I thought, ooh, okay, where is this going? When I was a child, I remember anytime I get asked, what do you want to be in future? I'd say, I want to be a bilingual secretary. Maybe at that time, that's all we knew. Or an air hostess. But at that age, that dream had fizzled out. That's not what I was going to be. I mean, go through and then go and be a flight attendant. I think I'd even forgotten about it. Anyway, so I accepted the admission into the University of Ghana, and then my sister came along. And one thing led to the other, and I got admitted into the School of Administration. And that is when I knew I had settled. The course options, accounting, no, not accounting, marketing, I'm not that creative. Banking and finance, okay, attractive. So I chose that option. And that was the beginning of my career, or the journey. I don't know if I have arrived. And I would say Uncle Daniel Mensah-Gorman introduced me as an accomplished, and I asked, okay, am I really accomplished? Am I done? Have I arrived? I don't know. Anyway, so that is how it started. How did I do it? How did I do this? It's God, really. I mean, some of the things you don't have an answer to it. I still remember my first job, how I got into that job. The gentleman who's my husband today, he pushed me. I had finished my university education and I was in national service, and he said, bring me your CV. So he took my CV and presented it to the HR in the company where he worked. Interesting. Today I look back at the way he pushed me to it, and I'm always grateful. I'm eternally grateful to him for that, because strangely, I mean, and I'll go into the detail, permit me, strangely at that time, we knew we wanted to get married. But guess what? The company did not allow that. Somebody and his wife being in the same company. But he actually fought for me to get admission. And I say that opportunity pushed me up. So when the option of finding another place came up, Stanbic was quite easy. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was a good option. At that time, they were opening up branches, and also I was picked up for Kumasi. And that was the beginning. So yes, I'd say it's God first, but of course with help all around. I've talked about how I had help starting. Stepping up to opportunities that are given to you. When Stanbic picked me, they actually picked me up for Kumasi. And I'll share this story with you. They picked me up and said, oh, we need your skills for Kumasi, because they are opening up a branch in Kumasi. So prepare for Kumasi. And so that was the start. But guess what? As soon as I settled down in Kumasi eventually, I was called to come back to Accra. Imagine if I had said, as for Kumasi, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave, be far away from home. Then what? Sometimes we use our circumstances to limit ourselves, and we do not step up when opportunities get handed down to us. How I have grown, I started off as a trade officer in the branch, Kumasi. I was brought back to Accra to support all the branches in trade finance. But as time went on, an opportunity came up, and I remember sitting with one of the managers and asking, "What do you think about this opportunity?" And he said, "Well, in this sector, if you want to grow and grow fast, if you move into the corporate banking sector, it will be a good move for you." So I applied for the job, and by the grace of God, I got it. And that was the beginning of my growth in the bank. I say no one can make it by themselves. We need help, one way or the other. It may be advice, which you will be wise to think about and take. It may be somebody actually holding your hand and saying, "Go and do this." And you yourself stepping up and saying, "Okay, I will try it." And it may turn out well. In spite of everything I've said, I'd say there are some key things that we need to know in order to build a career. And I guess I'll stop at this point and hand over to my senior colleague here, who I'm sure will share a richer experience with all of us, and then we can pick up the discussion as the questions come up. Thank you.
When I was invited for this seminar and I was told what I was coming to say, in fact, excuse, can I remove it? I was asking lawyer, this church, there are a lot of very senior retired officers here. Me, I've not yet gone yet. I'm still in the system, so what is the experience I'm coming to share with them? It shouldn't be the other way around. But he said, no, where you have reached now, with your modern things that are happening, he thinks I should come and say something in a way to attract the youth. At the same time, the seniors will say something, I also pick something from them. Based on that, I accepted the invitation. And I asked him, so what am I coming to talk about? What is the scope? What is the topic? And so just come and tell us where you are coming from and where you have reached. I said, I'm from Akoma, Volta region. I'm in Accra. I'm in Teshi camp. He said, oh, is that also okay? Then he said, myself. I said, myself. It's only 10 points. My name is, I come from, my parents are, I'm in class. Then we laugh over it. But frankly speaking, he didn't give me scope. He just told me where I'm coming from and where I've reached. I should share that experience. And based on that, that's why I'm here. I'm happy to see some of my seniors here. So I'm approaching from a different angle as compared to my sister. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and why I have come this far and what influenced my progress up to this time, or what I think influenced my progress up to this time. I am Wolanyo Agbebu. I come from Akoma in the Volta region. My father said Kwashi Agbebu was a teacher. My mother, Gladys Mouse Newell, also a teacher. They are retired, so I won't say of blessed memory, of blessed retirement. Growing up, my mother, my maternal uncles and the grandfather were typical evangelical Presbyterian church members. And their great-grandfather, Reverend S.K. Newell, was among the first people to be sent to Germany to go and learn the Bible and translate it into Ewe and before bringing them down. So that generation of family, they were all teachers or pastors. As I speak now, I think my mother's side, there are about 6 or 7 reverend ministers for all EP Church. And that's the German way of, they have a German way of doing things. Yes is yes, no is no. I remember my grandmother sent me to go and give, I was about 7 or 8 years old, to go and give sweet potato to a reverend minister who has come. I went there, he wasn't there, so I gave it to the wife. And I came back, and I told Grandma, let me see whether I can translate it well. Oh, Grandma, Osoph wasn't there, so I gave it to the wife. Then held my ears. Small boy, you don't say wife. Say the madam. Say the madam. That was the teaching. Say, no, not a strong. Small boy, don't talk about wife. You talk about madam. that type of upbringing through my mother. And then, unfortunately, somewhere along the line, my father was a typical, even though Christian, he believes in tradition, he's a traditionalist as well. So, very good polygamist. So, it was that thing that brought us to where we are now. There was divorce. Or my mother packed from the house to stay on his own. So, we were three, myself, my younger brother, and sister. Now, it's the women who suffer because you go with the children. My father will go for more. So, we stayed with our mother more than our father. Now, broken home is serious. Unlike civil war, where you see that your parents are killed, so you know you are orphan. In a broken home, you see your parents, but you can't stay with them. Sometimes you don't talk to, for a while, you can't see your father. 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, you don't see him. You have your mother. So everything you do, I hope you are not following that your stupid father. I hope you behave like that's your stupid father. So those things will be clicking on you, and it makes our life sometimes comfortable, sometimes very miserable. So we want to do whatever we are told to avoid that insult. So it has brought us in a way that typical EP church children, you wake up around 5:30, you have to go for morning devotion with the urine on your cloth, you tie it ahead, you have to go for early morning devotion in the church, go and sing, come back, carry bucket, go and, those kind of fatigue. But we went through. So when I finished, I was in class 6 or so, so 68, 79. About 11 years, I think my seniors will remember, 1979, when they were changing money. They were changing some CD to Ghana CD or something like that. And we saw a lot of soldiers in the village coming around, checking vehicles. And unfortunately or fortunately, most of them spoke Twi or English. So they couldn't speak Ewe. Me too, because my parents were teachers, and I started a primary school from Dunkwa Onofin, at least for 2 years. I could see some broken one, so I was the champion doing the interpretation. And they became my friends. I like the way they were behaving. They did the senior man pass. They were all saluting. I said, I want to be like them. Then when my mother was posted to another town, went and met the late Colonel Chahe and Major Abobo. That was their time, Jolo Bogame. And when they come to town, especially Ranger Chahe, when they come, the whole town stands still. I said, I want to be a ranger. I want to be like this man. That's where my interest started from. And I never went about it till I got to the military. Now, when I applied, I got it. And at the end of 22 months, I was posted to Almighty 69 Airborne Force, Tamale. Frankly speaking, I like adventure. So when we were filling the form for where you wanted to be posted to, my course commander, General Yanya Kofu, wanted to post me to Ho, artillery. I said, sir, from my village to Ho, it's so short that you can even walk and come and take money and go to hospital. I don't want it. Because I saw the late Colonel Agboche. People even took taxi, patient brought to Ho Hospital, and they take the taxi to Mota to go and tell them that we brought so and so to hospital. So come, and it was border. So I beg you, after Ho, I don't want. Then it's Accra. So Accra too, when you send 1 guinea fowl or 1 fowl, you can get it. So I want anything from Kumasi going. That's why I chose Tamale. And because we didn't jump as cadets, that after all the training, they said there was no aircraft. And I wanted to jump. I said, how can aircraft be moving? It's coming to land. And then you jump out before the aircraft land. Me too, you are also coming to the ground. I want to experience it. So I chose and they gave it to me. I went to Tamale, second lieutenant, lieutenant, captain, and went through. Since there's no time, I won't go into details. But I went and did a PGI course where we do free fall. And I said, so you can jump with that parachute and fly like a bird up to a point before you yourself you play the parachute. I like this one. And when I came back, my first assignment was to train 200 young soldiers. And I was very happy. After that, my confidence came. Serious one. So I've been in Tamale I was in Tamale for about 18 years before I had my first posting to Accra. But within that period, from the formation years up to the time I was a major, because Airborne Force has a IS operation at Upper East and Upper West, most often we're in other Upper East or Upper West. And my specialty is Boku, so I was always in Boku. Because they are naughty, I'm naughty. And I remember I told them, the first time I went there, I told the chief that people quench fire with water, but I quench fire with fire, so they shrink there. And it's like, hey, this is a big man. And a lot of things happened thereafter. It was an experience. I used to tell my colleague officers, and when I was a CO, ARTS, I tell them whatever we are taught in academy is just a guideline. When you get to the ground, you have to use your head. Take a quick decision and stand by it. I remember one of the fights, there were a lot of casualties. That was 2002, if I'm not forgetting. And then the Minister for Defense and the Chief of Army Staff and IGP, they came. After briefing them and everything, then the minister said, okay, Captain, you have done very well, managing to stabilize the place. But we were told most of the casualties were caused by the military. And I think it's not good for our image. I said, sir, you saw the weapons are displayed. I got these weapons from the locals. They have AK-47. They have G3. They have pistol. They have some locally made weapons. If they can differentiate this bullet from the military bullet, I will accept responsibility. Otherwise, we didn't cause it. The man looked at me. I said, Captain, what did you say? And I repeated it. Then I saw Kuwas, then my own airborne officer, General Yache, giving thumb up. Then my morale came. Like I was saying, I said this because sometimes you have to speak the truth and stand by it. Most often, you have to speak the truth and stand by it. And if you take a decision, you must stand by it. Now, Boku has a lot of problems. I'll just give you one example about that. Coming back to my formation years, Lieutenant, I was adjutant. I think, apart from Colonel Pabi, who had been adjutant for about 5 years plus, I was the next adjutant who had stayed long in Ghana Army. I did 4.5 years, served under 3 COs. I was adjutant in Lebanon, adjutant in Sierra Leone, back to the unit. A lot of things happened, but one particular incident I always remember. No, there are two. Let me just mention two. One was my CO, Colonel Gamo, was there. And that time we were not having mobile phones, so it was landline. And we have only 2 landlines in the unit, one to adjutant office, one to the CO's office. In the night, I was there when they called me from the ops room that there's a need for medevac. A soldier's wife had a problem, I think, ectopic or something like that. And they have to. So quickly, I drafted a message, and then that night they transmitted it. I didn't call CO to tell him. Then around 4 a.m., the ops officer, the late General Debra, called the CO that, oh, we have received your request, so we are processing it. But matured as he was, he said, okay, thank you very much, Richie. Then he drove and came to that because there was no telephone distance between the two of us. So he drove to the adjutant. What happened? Then I showed him the message. So look, this unit belongs to Colonel Gamo. It doesn't belong to Agbebu. You don't take decisions with that knowledge. Is that clear? I say yes. My first lesson is that wherever you are, there's a boss. Wherever they are, you are. Wherever you find yourself, there's a boss. You don't take things for granted. Having said that, the second one concerns a lady, adjutant. I was there, and this lady came. The husband was on operation. I kept that he went to MRS and he was given prescription to buy a medicine, but he hasn't got money because the payman has gone to Tamale to go and bring the pay. He hasn't come. Sorry, he has come to Accra. He hasn't come back yet, and he needed some money to buy medicine. So he spoke to the husband through the real link. And he said he should go and look for loan. When he collect the pay, he should pay. So he came to adjutant. So and ABF too, there's some money with adjutant. So I just looked inside and I think give him some money. So when your pay comes, then bring it. The pay came, he collected the pay. But around 8 p.m., one evening, then she came, knocking at my door. I opened the door, here he was. I said, what is the problem? He said, he had brought my money. I said, at this time, give it to me. So, but won't you allow me to sit down? I said, sit down for what? 8 p.m. Lieutenant, I'm married. Your husband, you want to come and sit down in my room? No. Don't enter the room. I said, oh, Saturday. I said, look, if you joke, I'll call the guy commander. No, and I'll lock you up. Now go and tell you that this is what we are doing. You came to me in the night. And then she knelt down, begged, gave me my money, and left. I learned something from that one too. Quick. I said, no, I have to be very careful. A lot of things pass through the profession. I've gone through, I was at HQ Northern Command, then HQ Northern Command for about 6 months when the Yanas issue came, so I was redeployed to Tamale. A lot of things happened, and it is up to you as an officer to stand and be ready to brief and be ready to defend whatever you have done. I don't want to go into details too much because of time. Then, coming back to Accra, when I was posted from ABF, to be very frank, let me put it this way. When I was in ABF, several times I was nominated for my professional course. I was dropped because I was the youngest parachute jumping instructor on ground. In fact, I was the only one at that time. The other ones were lieutenant colonels and this and so. So you have gone for the course and cap, so stay down and train people. The first one came, JD. I was dropped. Second one, I was dropped. Then General Dote became Kuwas. He visited the unit. After everything, then so after taking over, officers, do you think there's anything I can do to help the system? I raised my hand. She said, put your hand down. So, why? I said, oh, sir, I know what you want to say, but I've sorted it out. I said, no, if you have sorted it out, you've not raised his hand, so let him talk. I said, sir, operations have come, they dropped me. I don't have problem. My own professional course, now major 1 year, they have dropped me about 3 times. That I should stay and be training recruits and cadets. So who will train me? He said, oh, is that so? Then he told ASEC then, education officer, Colonel Sinchim, that I should take note. A week later, I had a letter to go to Canada for my JD. Then I said, sometimes a knock on the head is necessary to straighten the neck. My CEO didn't allow me to talk, which I wanted to talk. And it's good that at least small knock, shaking the neck. I've got in my Canada. Now, no more Ghana. I went and chopped with white men. I was very happy about that. From there, I came back, senior staff. Then I went to Israel, came back. Then I was posted to DAPCOP's office. I think there was an incident, so they changed all the officers over there. Now I was to work with General Poku and another colleague of mine. So then we now have 2 deputies, one in charge of administration, and I was in charge of training. Like he said, I was always into training. I was there when a lady came. So, oh, sir, you are the new DAPCO. I said, yes. This place sometimes, when the operations are coming, you give us something small, some few vacancies, we'll go and turn it around, and we can't give you something. I said, let's go to Jenapoku. Let's go. Then we got to Jenapoku. I said, sir, she's saying something. I don't want to be part of it. He said, then stand and listen to it. Because, hey, who have been doing that? And why are you coming to tell us this? Then let's go to Kuwas. That civilian employee was sacked. Why? I don't want to use anybody's 10 cities to come and change my 20 cities. Because I've come to church, so I don't want to go now. And I told somebody that Army has not complained of paying me since 1992. So I'm not ready to go now because of your 10 cities. Come and exchange my 20 cities. No. And there I realized that if I don't take care, I'll be corrupt. I had the money for training, but I can't keep. We were doing training every 3 months, and sometimes they give me about 10,000 cedis. I can't keep the money in the house. I can't keep it in the office. So I went and opened an account at Ghana Commercial Bank. So every 3 months, I put 10,000 inside. The next thing I heard was that I was selling tickets. So, Lieutenant Colonel, where has he got every 3 months 10,000? Every 3 months 10,000, come and deposit. Then, before the thing went to DI. They did an investigation. Then the thing came back to my boss. You are sitting down here, and that young Lieutenant Colonel is selling tickets. So, what about it? This is the book. Income and expenditure. I told myself, honesty is the best policy. It has taken me up. From there, one fine morning, 7th December, I got to the office. Then Kuwas called me. Togbe, how are you? I said, I'm fine, sir. Okay, what's the time? I said, 9:30. Okay, go to ARS, ARTS. Go and take over as CEO. I've called the CEO to come back. I was like, don't you like it? Oh, I like it, sir. I'll take it. So I came out. I didn't know anything happened over the weekend. So for the first time I've heard in the military, the posting was given to me. The posting was given to me to go and hand over to the CEO that, okay, you are changed. I'm taking over. It looks odd. But that's what happened. I got there, and like I said, I realized the situation. And the moment I got there, I started receiving calls. Oh, you are taking over, eh? The meeting that happened over the weekend, I tried to check. My daughter was not among, my cousin was not among, my deals. Meanwhile, I ought to go and investigate and find out, let's release the people. The politicians were calling. Everybody was, I just came out to sir, let's sack them. Sir, 505 requests, sir, they have to go. So why? Now give them the reasons why. So go and put it on paper and defend it for me. As if it was a magic. The headquarters don't know. I typed my reasons, printed it, and went and handed over to me. So I went to ARTS within 6 days, then I sacked all of them. 505. I did that because the problem that was coming, MPs were calling, ministers were calling, very senior officers were calling. Somebody even called with a threat. Don't you want to grow? Charlie, be very careful. This is very dicey. I said, sir, I want to grow. That's why I want to do the right thing. And it was a hell for me within that period. In fact, a day before I sacked the people, I switched off all my phones, the official one and the personal one. So I called Kwas and told him that I was going off. But I gave him my 2IC's number. If there's anything, he should give me a call. I said, hey, talk to me. I said, yes, sir. The morning to sack them, because there were many, people thought there would be problems. So the CEO asked me to go for troops at 1 BN to stand by. I said, no, sir. So I'll handle them. The evening I went to Ashama, brought out buses. Very early in the morning, by 5 o'clock, come. So on the square, we grouped them. Who are those going to Cape Coast? This bus. Who? This bus. Then, within an hour, 505 recruits were cleared off. When I called what that, they were going to say, how? And they were gone. Now, we took time to reorganize our SOP. In fact, I posted about 68 who was also away because they were also part of the problem. Posted them out and then got some P1. Like I said, sometimes it is difficult to take some decisions. But if you know that your conscience is clean and what you are doing is right, it's better you take it. And it's good for the system. In fact, when the news broke out around 12 o'clock, the calls that started coming from very senior officers, I don't know you, I've never heard your name before, but well done, that is good. We can't take 505 mutiny recruits to become soldiers. Then when they come out, they are coming to organize school. And I received calls from civilians who are not in the uniform. They are rather, okay, we have done something very good. Now, what has sustained me up to this time, I'll say there are 4 things. First one is my firm belief in God. I told somebody that I don't know how to pray, so I don't pray. I talk to God. So sometimes when I'm bathing, what should I say? Oh Lord, as I use this soap and sponge to clean myself, it means that you're also cleaning me, clean me, so that it's better for you, to be a good instrument for you. Lord, you said that when he asks, you give. The way my father is sick now, but I bought medicine now, so heal him. If you heal him, then let him die so that I can bury him. That's the way I pray. That is my prayer. I don't sit down, kneel down, pray for one. I don't know what to say. So when you go to church, they mention prayer topic. So after 5 minutes, I finish. Then people are talking and say, hey, what are they saying? Up to now, it still happens to me. Because you are the people who tell that God knows everything. He knows who you are. He knows what you want to say. Before you even open your mouth, he knows. So what are you saying for that 1 hour? I don't know. So me, I don't know how to pray. I'd rather talk to God. Oh, as I'm going to work this morning, please help me to recover, to remember everything I'm supposed to do. Let me do it to the satisfaction of my boss, so that at least tomorrow when something good comes, you remember, oh, this man is hard working. This and other blessings are asked through Christ our Lord. Amen. That prayer has sustained me. Simple thing like that, and I pray anytime. I talk anytime. I sing. If I'm in my house, I'm not doing anything, I play piano. And funny enough, I can't play anything apart from hymns. I can't play any other thing apart from hymns. So that is the first one. The second one that sustains me is reading. I read a lot. I try to read everything to see whether I'll get something from it. In fact, when I take graphic and you come to me, you'll be annoyed. I'll read that, I'll read obituary. I read obituary to see, so and so is dead. We regret to announce the death for so and so. Then I go to the children's column. Oh, Dr. Kofi Mensah, Canada. Dr. so and so, USA. Dr. Lecturer, UDS. Dr. Mr. so and so, Stanbic Bank. You go to another one too. Kosa Gbebo, Akwang Bota. Mensah, Akwang Bota. Adwa Mensah, Akwang Bota. I say, this man said that he didn't take care of his children, or what? So I read a lot. And I have 3 boys. I will tell them, look, I'm struggling for you so that when somebody read my obituary, who insult me? You know, insult me. I have 3 boys. And I will tell them, I try to drop my first name because before the white king, we have names. So why should they call me Frank when I have name already? So I always prefer to be called Kosi Agbebu or Walanya Agbebu. But because the Franklin is already in my baptismal certificate and it has gone to academy, the documents military, people still call that one. But when you call me Frank, sometimes I don't remember that I'm the one. Maybe you call twice. But the more you say Walanya, I 10. So my boys, none of them has an English name. Wakafi, Weiram, Wainam. And my wife too hasn't got an English name, so Afa. But like I said, that's the second thing that sustained me. Reading. I read a lot. I read anything. It's not like this book is not interesting. I'll try and see whether I can finish it. I read from political to finance to whatever, to theater, anything. Once it's called a book, it's called a pamphlet. When I go for funerals and I take this thing, I even mark English. I'll be reading and be marking and be doing correction and be putting comma and this thing. That's one thing. So that's the second one that sustained me. The third one by observation. I look at people a lot. When I go to church, when I go to any program, I look at the people, I look at their turnout, I look at the way they behave. I look at this colonel. Even at his age, look at the way he's walking. Not that he's sick. But so what is the problem? But look at this man, look at this general. Look at the way he's very smart. So I try to look at them, I try to copy. Not dressing flamboyantly, not dressing too zuguma. And so I look observation. If it is office, I look all my colleagues, I look at them every morning when I go, I open their doors and greet them. Oh, hello, Charlie, how, Charlie. I just want to know who is who. By observation, if you go for meeting, I look at the way my director is addressing us, the way he talks to us. I say, okay, so as an officer, you have to talk to your colleagues, officers. And he takes it like, as if you are all generals. He talks to us with some respect. So I say, okay, so we have to pick this from this man. That's another way that I learned in the profession. Then the last one is the courses that we go to. I pick my last lesson from all the courses that we go to. I try to gather something from there and then add it to whatever I have. And these are the things that I use to sustain me. And of course, I like games. So I play very good badminton. And my casualties are Lawyer and Ransford. They are always down. But he is the old age, so I won't talk. In fact, those days he was dealing with him, but now he can't deal with me now. So I play badminton. I play piano, but like I said, only hymns, EP hymns. Hey, I'll finish now, those kind of things. And then another hobby that I have is singing. My mother is a musician. In fact, he wrote to become the choir mother of EP Church. She plays organ, she plays how do you call that? Violin. And then, but now she can't play now, she's sick. So I use those things as my hobbies. I always make sure. And the singing too, I like the traditional ones. The traditional hymns and not the English ones. So far, yes, I believe strongly that perseverance and discipline has brought me this far. I might have made a lot of mistakes. But at the same time, quickly, when I see that I made a mistake, I approach the person, oh, sorry, I didn't know it was like this. I now realize it, so I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it this way. And whatever I have to apologize, I apologize. And if it is whether I have to write, I write. If it is just by mouth, by mouth. So, in a nutshell, that is Walanyo Agbebu. Thank you very much.
Whether you have said it here or not, we shall meet on court. Right. So we are very grateful for the introductory remarks. They have been quite exciting. The floor is open. If we have any particular questions that we would want to ask, we can ask and direct it to any one of the two facilitators. We'll take first three. We'll take the first three questions, and then they would answer. And then we take the next three questions, and then we answer. Thank you very much. Yes.
Please, good evening. Please, my first question is directed to Auntie. Please, I want to know when Mommy was actually when Mommy wanted you to choose law, and maybe your interest was in something else. How is the feeling when your parents want you to do something as against what you want to do? How are you able to cope with the situation?
Right. All right.
I mean, how did she manage it?
Next question. Two more, then we can answer.
Next question.
All right. Yes.
Thank you. I also want to ask that what are the necessary precautions one have to take in order to remain in line with the career he or she has chosen?
Right. Is there any third question that we can answer? Any third question? All right. So we would allow the facilitators to answer just to indicate that we are streaming live. So let's be a little more audible so that the machines can pick the conversation. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Yeah, all right, question. Yeah, I don't have a question. Question. Okay. Yeah, you want to add something?
Please, my last question is to Daddy. Please, I want to know, as young as you were, when you were little, before you saw the military men coming to the area, that was when you were moved to be, you wanted to become a military man. But in that crisis, when you were suffering from, let's say, broken home, when your mom had separated from your dad, what motivated you to move on until you saw the military men before you got inspired? Before their advent, what moved you as a child to keep on moving?
Okay, so you got to take this one.
To stay the course.
Okay.
I think he has to clarify a little bit.
Use this one.
I'd like you to clarify your two questions. The one you have for me, in terms of my choice of profession as against my mom's interest. And yeah, so please clarify your question.
Okay, all what I wanted to say, how did you manage it?
How did I manage
The situation.
Okay, so I think for me, I let the university admissions deal with it, so I didn't have to go do negotiations. Like I said, I applied for the course all right, but I prayed that I wouldn't get it. And in the end, I didn't get it. However, I got something else and eventually got what I wanted in the course. And at that point, there wasn't much that could have been done about it. But what I can say in addition is, and to advise in how to deal with these things, sometimes talking helps. Appealing and really talking. I mean, sometimes when you present your case, you can show the benefits that you will derive by pursuing or towing a certain line. That helps. And you let people understand why you must go that route as against something else. It is helpful. So we can use that. And I mean, in doing all this, like I've said, prayer helps. So for me, prayer is what worked it out for me. I applied for it and I prayed that I don't want it, so I don't want to get it. And then the results, showed it for me. I don't know if that answers your question. Okay, thanks. And to Daddy's question, would you want to clarify what you want to know?
Okay, so to Daddy's question, Daddy has made us understand that 4 things kept him moving. But I really want to know that at that tender age, when he was a young boy, before he saw the military men, and he was inspired to become one of them, before their advent, as in before they came, what kept him moving? Despite the challenges he had in their house with the issue of broken homes, what kept him moving as a young boy?
If I understand your question, you want to know, before I saw the military men, what was in my mind? What do I want to do? And then when I met them, what motivated me to follow them? Okay. Like I said, I grew up with my mother, single parent. So what I know is teacher And my uncle always says that you, when you finish Form 5, go to training college, small, or then you go to pastoral school, then become a sophomore. That's what we know. I'm a job training college. That's what they all attended. So teacher, catechist, then a sophomore. That's what and the teacher is the biggest appointment in the village. At least the children go and farm for you. And so that's what I know. And my mother was a teacher. Small time, the children on Thursdays afternoon, they say, Operation Feed Yourself. Operation Feed Yourself. So they share the children to all the teachers to go and farm for them. So that's what I know, that I'm going to become a teacher. It was one day that, I want to become a teacher, but maybe at the university level. So then you wait. When you go to training college and then you are teaching, then you can go on steady leave. But, I don't have money to take you to this thing. So in my mind, that was, and like I said, I was young. I was born 68, so 79 was about 11 years. But at least at that village, that's all you know. The biggest appointment there is a teacher, or sophomore. But when I met them, and then immediately met them immediately after that money changing something, then my mother was posted to Jolo, Bogame, where the late Colonel Chahe and Major Bobo came from. And like I said, if Ranger Chahe is in town, no fooling. And I read, so there's another profession that is very good. And we go to church and I do Kofi Annan Saturdays. When he comes there, Saturday, no way. Because you go and dump money and say, this man, the money here local is more than all the other. So I said, let me try, I want to be a soldier rather. I didn't know the difference between soldier and officer. So all along, until I got to secondary school, and I had a mate to say, you want to be a bombardier? I said, what is bombardier? So they are the people who carry the bomb. I said, no, I don't want that one. So to be very frank, before then, my mind and what I know is I'm going to training college, small time I'll become a sophomore, that kind of thing. But when I met them, and then as Providence will have it, we were posted to the next town, and that's where we met. Initially when we went, we were staying in Major Abobo's house before my mother was given a conde. And then you come with a driver and a bodyguard, and you open the door and say, this one to be what? You can't drive your car, somebody driving you. There's someone to have to open the door. And say, Then I started asking questions, but who should I ask? I asked my colleagues who also don't know. Then we help each other. Then, so it was the latter part. But from there, I took a decision that I want to be a military man. Then somebody also mentioned one that there's every profession in the military. I said, okay, then that's good for me. So I asked the person, so can I teach? He said, yes, you can teach. So okay, what about doctor? So we can be a doctor. Then I asked a few questions. So in my mind, whatever job I'll do it in the military. Those are the things that motivated me. Please, have I answered you?
The next set of questions.
Joe Menu wanted to say something. Joe Menu wanted to make a contribution. No, don't infest me with corona.
I'm free. The first I want to talk about is career counseling and guidance. This is an area where all of us are lacking. I quite remember when we were in school, if you're able to do Phi, Mama, Chembio, that's physics, maths, chemistry, biology, it means you are better than somebody who is doing government, economics, and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, if you become a doctor and he goes into management, you'll be a manager, and you'll be managing the hospital and you'll be a doctor. So we lack guidance and counseling. So this is an area where we should also look at it. The next point is also about failure. It should be the last option in your life. Failure means how high you can bounce from the bottom to the top. If you fear failure, then you don't think about progress. So most of us, when we go and we hit the wall, that's the end. But he who fights and runs away lives to fight another one. Maybe the third point is determination. And then consultation. You see, I've been saying that if you want to be a thief, you move with thieves. If you want to drive, you move with drivers. So the moment something comes into your mind that you want to be a thief, look around. Thank you.
Hello. Let me just add to what the Colonel has just said. You see, I always believe that behind every closed door, there are enough space for you to maneuver. So what my senior man has just said, that when you hit the wall, then you have given up. It's not the best. When nature hands you lemon, don't throw it away. Make lemonade out of it. And you get people to come and join you to take it. So, like I said, behind every closed door, there are a lot of space for you to maneuver. If you are coming in, they lock it, you have a space to maneuver. If you are inside, they lock it, you have a space to maneuver. Don't let disappointment pull you down. I said earlier on that because there's no time, I couldn't have got into specific. I could have given 1, 2, 3, 4 examples. At a point, I thought they were even going to sack me because I was too daring, and I took some decisions. And I remember one time I took a decision in the operational area, not in the barracks. During the gong time, and you are in charge, and you look at the thing quickly, you want to take a decision. And the senior officer called me and told me, look, if you joke and something happens, I'll hand you over. But when it turned out to be something that I received congratulatory message from the headquarters, I was called interview and congratulated. He has forgotten I had. So you need to take the risk. It's very important. If you are walking and this door is locked, look for another one. Thousands are opened, but you are struggling to open this one. When you can look around, like you just said, to see which other ones are open, you are still struggling to open this one. And you are wasting time. You are not growing younger. So that's my personal addition to what the Colonel has just said.
Thank you. Let's take 3 questions. Fifi, been answered. Here full question. Let's have it.
I asked that what precautionary measures one has to take in order to remain in line with the career he or she has chosen.
Again, I'll use my own experience because it will vary. Like I said, I believe in God. Believe in something. And once you are in church, something that you should believe in God. And trust that you do it. I used to tell my children that God has 3 answers for all our prayers. 1 is yes. 2nd one is yes, but wait. 3rd one is no. What is your problem? That's the way I teach them. God had, so pray and wait for the answer. But once you are waiting for an answer, make an effort. They say heaven helps those who help themselves, even though it's not in the Bible. But you make the effort, and then you can go for it. So there are a lot of things that you can do. Personally, I remain focused. Like I said, honesty is the best policy. I try to be as honest as possible. No matter how bitter it will be, I'll tell you, Colonel or Lieutenant Colonel or Major, are you going to whip me? You can either warn me or you charge me. But once I know I'm right, I'll tell you the truth. Because my grandmother used to tell that if you say one truth, if you tell one lie, you need 10 to cancel the first lie. But if you say one truth, 10 people will come and congratulate you. If not immediately, later. So we were brought up by that. And I realized that sometimes when you speak the truth, you are free. Socrates says that when in doubt, speak the truth. And you are free. So it's a way that can help you focus. Once you have chosen your career, remain on that path and look for, like I said earlier on, that we should be able to learn from observation, read around what you are doing, and try to learn more, and read obituary.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Please, formally, I know very well people will choose courses in the university based on what they are passionate about, so they can read and read well. And when they come out, they'll have a job because of what they have read. But right now, the jobs are not available. So when young ones are choosing courses, should they choose it based on the availability of jobs, or they should still follow what they are passionate about? Thank you.
I'm coming now. You. Oh, sorry.
Hello. My question comes from the back of what Kenomenu said about careers, choosing a career. I think it's good. It's good that parents would want to advise their wards on like what to do. But then I see this growing menace in the choice of a career, or in advising a youth of a career to take. That is money. So I think we are becoming too money conscious now when we are advising our wards, advising people on career. And I think that is not a good thing. So based on your experiences working and all that, what are some of the things we should look at, or in advising someone, what should we look out for in the person before we try to suggest something that they can choose as a career? Okay, that's the first question. Then I have another question to you, Mami. You mentioned that your career has been, I call it the hand of God. There's been the hand of God in your career. So I also have an experience very similar to yours. So in those cases where it was mostly like a recommendation, those kind of things, something you never really thought of, you never planned, you never saw yourself there, but then due to an act of God, you are there. How did you stay motivated on it? How did you stay daring on it to try and then move forward? Thank you.
Mine is a bit along Kenomenu's and Kofi's as well. I feel that our culture makes it difficult for children, I want to use the word children, to make choices on their own. So that whatever career path is predetermined by a guardian or the parents, regardless the strengths and passions of the children. How do we move away from this canker? Because if my dad was an officer, and because of job insecurity and all of that, I'm quite healthy. My dad can influence me to get into academy so that at least I have a smooth path going up. Probably it's not my calling. I may want to be something else, but because the economic situation might not help, such that what I want to do might take some time. People want to go into oil and gas, blah, 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 petrochemical stuff. But immediately, the old man wants to get me off his back so that I'm also independent. And so the fastest means to doing that is pushing me through academy or something of the sort. How do we enable the children to make their own choices, but with the guidance and counseling Kanel mentioned? How?
Okay. Let me try to scratch the surface of the Osofo's question. That what do you do? How do you choose a course? Should it be based on jobs available or passion? Really, the university is supposed to introduce you to life. So my first degree, for instance, I read human resources. However, I did a little bit of accounting, marketing, operations, finance. and then human resource. The idea is to broaden your mind. So when you come to life, what you experience, then you build on it. So the first degree is to introduce you to life. So you learn a lot of things. Then when you start working, by when you'll be matured enough to take a decision as to what you really want to do. I know people who did agric in the first degree. After national service, they got into banking. And then they decided to build a career in banking. Nana Osafo, for instance, is an engineer. He got somehow introduced into banking, grew to become a finance minister. So really, the university is to introduce you to life. Then, as you start working, you can build on what you really you desire to do. So you learn all sorts of things. Then as you come to start working, then you make up your mind whether you want to be A or B. I don't know whether that answers your question. Otherwise, what do we do? There are no jobs around. So if you want to decide before you go to the university to study, then you end up studying everything in the university before you take a decision.
I was in the Upper East for my sixth form. And what I saw was that most of the teachers will write the O-level and then join us at the A-level. So most of them are now lawyers and administrators. You see, sometimes we don't sit down to look at the tricks in the system. You see, if your passion is to be a lawyer, you can go to training college. If you are from a poor home like me, to the training college. From training college, you enter university. And training college, you stay there for 3 years. First year, you do one A-level paper. Second, third. So by the end of the third year, you have 3 A's. So straight, either you go and do law or you go to school of admin. At the end of the day, accountant, lawyer, and good to go. So you can pursue your passion from a different angle. But if you want to, as my brother said, look at the closed door, forgetting that an avenue is also at the other side, then you'll be there.
Let me make a point. So sometimes we assume that the job we have is the career that we are pursuing, and that may be wrong. I know people whose interest is in sewing, fashion designing, but they started life as working in a bank, and as time went on, the job was no longer interesting, and so they left to pursue their interest, their passion. So let's not get it wrong that the job that you have is what you are stuck to for life. And so once I've started my job in the public sector, I must retire in the public sector. No. I guess the jobs come in when the circumstances do not permit you to pursue that interest at the time when you want to. So I'm interested in fashion, but sika nifie nti wose miye ejuma to help the family. You may have siblings who need support. You have some basic education and you have to come in to support your parents, to look after your younger siblings, or to work to look after your aging parents and all that. Those are circumstances that require us to take certain steps. But as things look better and improve, we can actually take the step aside from these jobs to pursue our interests. And so let's not forget that. Somebody wanted to say something about this as well. Okay. All right. So there was a question. Oh, it was you. Right?
I was just going to add to what Kenneth said. Please, we are not saying that teaching is not good. We are not looking down upon teaching. You are saying that if you are from a poor home and you can't make it immediately, it's a way, even though it's a longer route, it will still get you there. Now, I have a cousin who is a teacher. He teaches at Accra Academy. He's staying in a single room, self-contained. But he had put up storyboard in Accra here and rented out. Extra classes. I said something earlier on that if the nature hands you lemon, don't throw it away. Make lemonade out of it. Extra classes, mathematics and statistics. That's all that he does in the evening in his veranda. Now, Accra here, he put up a story building, rented that one out. But he's still in the chamber and hall self-contained with the wife and the son. So depending on where you are, depending on how you turn the situation, it can be to your advantage. So I don't think we are looking down upon teaching. I said from the beginning that I also wanted to, because that's the profession I know in the village, and it's about the best as at that time. So please, if anybody here is a teacher or want to be a teacher, we are not saying that it's not good. Sometimes if your heart is not there, then use that as a stepping stone based on the house that you are coming from. But if your house is good and you want to continue, you can continue. Why not? But teachers have made it. At least my mother had taken care of me until I finished. My younger brother too has finished. My sister too has finished. So it's the teaching. Yes. Very good. Steadily with pay. Exactly. They go to university and get steadily with pay.
My mother told me a lady's ideal job is either a teacher or a nurse. Teacher, you go on vacation, you get to stay home with your family. And today we all know that time with the children is very key. Time with the family is very important. So to my senior's point, the teacher's job is not to be looked down on. Fifi asked a question about how you can stay the course, how you can motivate yourself to, if you've chosen a career, to stay on it. I think it all starts with you. It starts with what you want to do. Remember, I made an example of somebody who resigned from her job as a banker to pursue her interest in fashion. The circumstances may lead you to go off the course, but ultimately, you know what you want, and that is what you must keep in focus. Sometimes you may not know what you want, but you have an idea of how you want things to be. So as you go through education, certain interests come in, and you find that, oh, I like this one. Okay, let me stick to that one. Let me try this and see. And then you would find that it will interest you, and then you can build on it as you go on. Learning, my senior here has said it, never stop learning. Never stop learning. And I'll add that you need to develop yourself for the next big opportunity. So when you sit somewhere, you think, oh, I've arrived. You don't know what will be thrown at you. And then you will not be ready for the opportunity. So always increase or always find new things, get curious, read around, learn. Even in the profession that you are, learn. It's very important. And these days, there are so many modern things, there are so many new things that you need to, also get to know about, because trends are changing. The old ways of doing things are, now technology has taken over. And so you need to also develop your knowledge in the field that you choose. There was a question about how you guide people to make their choices. So I think Daddy made a point about the lack of guidance and counseling being a big factor in how people get to choose their careers. And I actually made it, I wrote it down as a point to talk about. In the schools, the counseling is not so much career counseling, and so that is an area that we need to develop. I don't know if it's as a country or as an opportunity for the people in that field to improve on. But for me, one thing I'm very careful about is telling my son, and I have a 10-year-old boy. He likes to ask me, "Mommy, what do you want me to be in future?" And my husband is sitting there. I have never been able to answer that question. I always tell him, "I'd like you to do something that you are interested in, something that interests you, something that you're passionate about, and as a Christian, something that will be pleasing to God." That is how I advise my son when he asks me that question. And I be careful not to insist that he goes a certain route, because you may end up, hurting him if you insist. I don't know if that answers your question. Sid, we've talked about what you spoke about. Okay. There was a question about acts of God in my career. I don't know what. Do you care to elaborate?
You asked that question?
Yeah, I did. Hello. So I was saying that when something you never really expected comes your way, and by like an act of God, like I said, so staying motivated, staying the course, like looking the path and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So how, in your case, yeah, how did you handle it? Yeah.
So I've mentioned that it's important that you are prepared and also be bold enough to step up to these opportunities when they get handed to you. He mentioned asking. It's good to ask. Whenever there was training, he was bypassed because they needed him to do the work on the ground. So other people were going. But when eventually he asked, he got the opportunity, and it was a big one, So sometimes you may not expect it. It will get handed to you. Step up to it. It's important. Be bold. There are times when you get asked to do something, you may not be confident enough, but being brave to accept it and taking it up actually is a good start. And then after, you can ask for help. Asking for help is very important. We don't go through life by ourselves. Definitely, we need somebody to hold your hand. You need somebody to guide you, somebody who will point you to a direction, or somebody who will actually hand you some resource that you may need to do something. We can't do things just by ourselves. We definitely need help. And asking for help is also okay. So when it comes to you, please. Thanks.
Just to add to the guidance we talk about, like the colonel said, now that you don't have this guidance, counseling guidance department in most of the schools. But me, what I do to my boys, sometimes when they see the cadets passing, I say, come and look at them. Then I took them to police headquarters to look at the police, prison, fire. Then in the house we have internet. I'll just say, go and type pilot. Go and search who a pilot is, what he does. They will come and tell me. Go and type what a lawyer is, what he does. Now the small boy now, he has read about law and now he tells me I want to be a chief justice. I said, no, you don't start from chief justice. You have to start from, that is him. The second boy is, okay, if he does science, what and what can you do? I said, go and type, find out. If you do science, what and what can you do? And come and tell me. So with the help of internet, they are discovering themselves one after the other. You read about all the professions. Just this afternoon, when I picked the last born from school, we're going now. They say, Daddy, why did you decide to just so that be killing people? I say, for you to have peace, that is in the Bible that if you want peace, prepare for war. There's a huge part of the Bible is there. I say, I can't quote it for you, but I'll go and look for it. But in the once you to me, that's what I do to them. Small time, I'll go and open the internet. Profession, type something. Engineer, I want to be an engineer. What are the duties of an engineer? Electrical engineer, what are the branches? And then yourself will come out and write something small for you. So go and look for the branches of engineering. I say, oh, we have mechanical engineers, we have aviation engineers, we have something engineers. Then she will list them as, okay, what do they do? So that I want them to discover what they think they can do rather than what they ask you that, what do you want me to do? You know. So let's look at that one too. In the absence of guidance and counsel or counsel and guidance department in our family, I think we can also help you that.
There was a video going around about somebody asked the son, what do you want to be? He said, armed robber. Yeah, there was, in such a situation, I think you need to take him through what my brother is doing to the kids. You don't insist, but you sit them down and discuss. Thank you.
We have, as much as we are having fun, the time is also an enemy. So we'll take two questions. Two final questions. And, okay, I'm getting protests. Second, sir. So, okay, then we would allow for comments and discussions. Then the next phase of the program is breaking bread and bottles. We'll float the refreshment around. And as we do the refreshment, we'll continue with my microphone is gone off. The microphone says we are free. So we will continue with the refreshment. The refreshment and continue with the discussion. Let me also indicate that we are privileged to have two of our chaplains here. Reverend Otwe Champon is here, and Very Reverend Basal has also joined us at the rear from Cape Coast. Also, folks, we are very grateful to have you. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you. Two questions.
I don't know if it's the question I'm about to ask is something like personal in the military or something, but I'd like to find out why it has become increasingly difficult for people with passion to be able to join the military, and those who don't seem to have the passion are rather being able to join.
Are you expecting an answer? Well, sometimes when you ask difficult questions, you have to give difficult answers. Then we'll finish the case.
Okay, mine is more of contribution. From with my background, recently I told my dad that he has not helped me in a way, and the man accepted because I explained to him why. He was a technical person who deals with fixing of television. He can build his own amplifier, and at a certain point, you will see me playing around. Instead of him encouraging me, he would rather beat me. But the very things that he was able to teach me, I remember one of the days I fixed my own television because I remembered how my dad taught me that if you have this problem, this is how you should fix it. So I told my old man, and he accepted it. So in a family meeting, he made this suggestion that in our lineage, automatically boys in Obia would too. But as for the ladies, some do have, but others, and those who don't have are very gifted in terms of technical wise. So they decided that they will push them small, so they will reach a certain level, even if to secondary school. Then, whatever technicality the person possesses, they will help the person to build upon. Also, as a Sunday school teacher, I look through the children a lot. And whenever I realize that this person is good at ABC, not only the church, even the community, and also I'm a teacher myself in a way, whatever observation that I do make, I recommend them to the parents that, yes, your child is going to school ABC, but this is what I've been seeing, that this child is more capable. So if you can help that child and shape that child up for that career, I believe it will help. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Last comment, then we are done.
So mine has to do with some jobs or some careers or professions that seem to follow a certain family line. It's as though it's a preserve of some people. Is it a preserve or it's just coincidental? Such that my dad was a doctor, my grandfather was a doctor, whether I like it or not. It's just like the choice of school. My dad went to Presec. I have to go to Presec. My son has to go to Presec. Is it possible? You see, so I earlier spoke about culture. And that's where the imposition is. We don't allow the children to make certain choices for themselves, certain informed choices. So it's not as if I want to become an armed robber. No. But we seem to box them in such a way that what we say is what happens. How do we turn that thing around?
Sometimes, too, it's the opposite. My father was a fisherman. He never encouraged any of his children to be a fisherman.
Professions in the family following one way or some particular. I'm not going to give you a scientific answer, but a simple one I can give you that children copy their parents. When I was young, when I'm running, I used to hold my breast. I don't have a breast, but that's what I see my mother doing and the girl doing. So one day I was in class 3 or class 4. My teacher, are you a girl? Why are you holding your breast? So it's not good to do this and what's running. So it depends on what the children see you in the house. Like I said, my mother's side, all that I know is that you go to training college and become a pastor. That's all. It runs through them. So that is what we know. My in-laws' house, my in-laws' house, they are all lawyers. Why? Because their father was a magistrate. His first son, my father-in-law was a magistrate. His first son was a lawyer. And the books are already there. So the children all follow through. Because it saves cost. Once the passion is there, it saves cost. The experience, they share it with you. So you don't have to struggle. That's all that they know. That's what you see. Children copy what they see. Because, let me tell you something. I said, I was telling you that I always open the computer for the boys, go and look for a profession. It wasn't there like that. So there was no computer. So I see what my father, like I said, my mother is a musician. So go for choir practice, teaching music. In fact, the whole district, once in a while, at the end of the month, they bring some food items to the house, some envelopes, in addition to a pay. I think she was okay, so I was happy. I was following. So to me, I want to become, and the pastors, Sundays, people are coming to church, not in Accra, I'm talking about the village. People are coming to church with plantain, with cassava. They'll drop that one in the pastor's house before coming to church. Those are the things that we saw, and so we thought, oh, it's a good profession. Like Kenneth just said that someone said he wants to be an armed robber. A boy in Tamale, there was something he was saying, so he want to be a malam. I said, why do you want to be a malam? Because they'll be bringing chicken to the house, guinea fowl, sorry. And Kenneth was there. So that's what they are saying. The father was a malam, and everybody who comes to consult carries guinea fowl to bring. So it depends on how they see and how exposed they are. But me, if I'm a lawyer, or I'm a military man, as I am, I'm a military man now. If my children want me to choose, I'll tell them, okay, join the military. Why? It will be easier for me to help them join. 2, I have resources at their disposal. Apart from the verbal one, I have books. I've gone on courses. I have old ones and new. So it's easier for me. And then even the expenditure will be smaller. The same thing applies. I'm sure if Kenneth children want to join the army now, You tell them the area they should go to. You won't tell them they should go to particular unit. They should go to this particular unit because of where he has reached, the experience he has had, and things he has seen. So I don't think children following a particular profession, their family, is coercion or anything. But that's what they have seen. That's what they observe, and they begin to like it. By the time you dislike it, you are already inside. By the time your eye will open and say, oh, let me look for another profession. Like me, I told you, my mama used to go to a Joffrey Training College and become a sophomore. Because that's what I've seen. But after that, when I saw the military people, I said, even I remember I was told that you can't be an army officer. The whole village, I'm the only officer. So somebody, you want to be an officer. You can't be. Because this is the pattern we have seen. So I don't think it's a force or this, but children begin to follow what they see. If your mother is a banker, every morning going to a bank and coming back, you go there and see your mother counting money. It is your mother's money. You want to be a banker.
Like I said, we will be having a refreshment and still continue with the interaction. Uncle Wilson at the rear has something to say also.
Thank you very much. I want to say something on Sydney's question. I believe that as children, as we grow up, we are very impressionable in the sense that the things we see around, as Daddy said, are the things that we get excited about. I believe that in your excitement over PRESEC winning 6 national science and maths quiz competitions, your son, who is just about 2 years old, looking at his father, jumping all over the place and saying that PRESEC has won, will decide in future that I also want to go to PRESEC. If I go and tell him to go to Adisada College, he'll decide that no. Because there's something about PRESEC that excites my father, and I have seen that in the house. So I would also want to go there. And especially so when you see that there are people who go there who do well. You would not appreciate the fact that there are other people who go elsewhere who perhaps even do better. But then it becomes something that is on your mind and you aspire towards it. So those are things that in life, it is the things we see, the things we hear that excite us. So they also shape the careers that we aspire towards. So it's not strange. I see my father as a doctor, and perhaps I see myself in a certain way towing that line. So it is not out of the blue at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Uncle Wilson. Uncle Franklin also has something to tell us.
And that should end it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that this whole thing is what is found in psychology. Your immediate environment will definitely have an influence on you. So what we need to do as parents is to help the children, like Kenna was saying, broaden their horizon. Once you expose them to other things, then they can make choices as they grow up. It is most often an issue with parents where we believe that what we did is the best, our children see that, and then we encourage them to do it. But ideally, if we are able to broaden their horizon, they should be able to see other things they will be interested in, and then toe that line. So it's up to us. Just as Brother Obo was saying, his father was a fisherman. The father thought that there are other things. So he advised them not to go into fishing. They have chosen different paths. So that's what we should do, help our children find other things of interest and then move into. Thank you very much.
Yes, a question is, can we chop? Yes, we can chop. Yes, and we have any conversation, we continue with the conversation. Okay.
You see, my Liverpool brother, Man U. There was this Nigerian minister for housing, and he was accused of giving the contracts to his friends and relatives. So there was a press conference. They talked, blah, 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 blah. After that, he summed up. He said, the writers or those accusing him, they should wait. They should wait. When they become ministers, they should give the contracts to their enemies. Now, what I'm trying to say is that if you are in the military and your kids are there, you send them to prisons or what? No, they should come to the military. No, you know what is inside. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Small contribution. I think in reference to the career and the courses that I asked about, after university, I didn't want to stay idle. I wanted to employ myself, just as John Wesley said, that you have to employ yourself. So I decided I won't go back home after the national service. I won't go back home and sit there idle looking for a job. So I will engage myself in something. I taught in a secondary school for 1 whole year without any pay. The person who offered to give me something was giving me 50 cedis a month. Whilst even with the national service, I was taking 250 cedis. But when I was doing that, I had my vision. I was eyeing something. I was just preparing myself to do something that I want to do. So, but I just didn't want to be idle. So I knew what I was doing when I took up those appointments. But nowadays, you find young ones who have completed university who are waiting to hit the jackpot before they start working. I would suggest that we just get ourselves employed, even whilst we are waiting to hit the jackpot. I've said in church that I wanted to do something else apart from being in ministry. After university, I wanted to go into farming. That has been one of my passions. I wanted to go into farming. There was no money to do that. I and my friends, we came together trying to solicit for funds, but we couldn't get it. So, if I'm not having this one, I can at least do something else before I get into the farming. When I started teaching and everything else came, I have to go to the seminary to become a minister. I did everything. But after being a minister, I am still into farming. As at this time, I am still into farming. I produce eggs, sell it to people. I have fowls, sell it to people, even as at now that I speak to you. So I will encourage ourselves that if you are young, you are looking for a job and you are not getting the desired one, just get yourself employed. Because when you go looking for any job, they'll ask for years of experience. They won't ask of the money you were taking in your former job. They'll ask for years of experience. So even if it means you are working for free just to establish yourself, I think it is better than being idle in the house. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Osofo. Once Osofo has spoken, and once we are privileged to have 2 Osofos, would be blessed to have another word from another Osofo, very Reverend Basosa.
Thank you very much. I didn't want to say anything. This morning, I saw at this program on a friend's status, we are having a meeting at Calvary. So I said that if I'm able to close the meeting a little earlier, I'll try to join and see how the discussion will be. So I'm just here to, be part of this program and to hear the discussions. But then I'm very happy the way things have been. Is it Auntie Kate or my brother Soja sitting there mentioned something. And for me, that is what I want to emphasize, the prayer factor in anything that you want to do. Sometimes you may focus on a particular profession or a career, but then God may have something different for you. So as you go along, the direction of God, God's guidance, God's leading with prayer, and of course also with your commitment, I believe that whatever the Lord has designed you to be or destined you to be, you'll be able to achieve it and accomplish it. I wish all of us well through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
It's a privilege to be here, and I think that we are blessed to have this very fruitful interaction. Afo says that he was reading everything, including obituary, in the newspapers. Somebody also indicated that there's nothing like unemployment in the country, because in addition to the obituary, look at the job vacancies that are always published in the newspapers. And then he was telling us, when we were much younger than now, that you can also tailor your career on the qualifications and then the requirement for those vacancies. Then work yourself into those vacancies, and then you'll be able to move in there. And so a lot of the time you will see somebody wanting to join the military and then asking you that, can you also, based on soldier not so busy. I have only one response most of the time, that gone are the days when the soldier was looking for people, but now people are looking for the military, so we have choices. And it's a EMS, don't try. English, maths, and science. Also, me maths no but Kenny na ye. Maths na yena so be maths here. Why then we you film no that be homo? It's not possible. So first and foremost, let us also look at the newspaper adverts and see what the requirements are, qualification for those vacancies, and let's work ourselves into them. There are different levels. The second one is like what Uncle Menu said. If I have seen far, that is because I stood on the shoulders of giants. So let us walk with the kind of people who can motivate us. The counsel of the ungodly, we should avoid that one. And that is what the psalmist is saying as Christians. So let us move with the people who can motivate us to move further. And then once we are able to do that one, the Lord will help all of us. There's no one who has had it all. Where you have reached, somebody has gone past it. Where you are, somebody was once upon a time there. And therefore, if we will be able to look at each one of us and where everybody has reached, we can pick a model among us and be able to fashion ourselves into that one. And then we won't take out the one key word that runs all of these, the God factor. The God factor. Afro Alliance definition of prayer, well, that is prayer, communication with God. So when you are walking, pray. When you don't be, because you are not doing, it means you are not praying. The God factor is also very critical. And no one has followed the Lord and has always gone vain. What make you his service your delight, and he would also make your wants his care. May the Lord help us that we'll be able to position ourselves well to help society, to help church, to help ourselves, and to help Mother Ghana. Father, I know that all my life is fashioned out for me, and the changes that are sure to come, I do not fear to see. May we do this song. The Senku is gone, but we can raise the tune and sing it. MHB 602. Father, I know that all my life is portioned out for me. Shall we sing? Ready? Go. Father, I know that all my life is portioned out for me. And the changes that are sure to come, I do not fear to see. But I ask thee for content mind, intent on pleasing thee. Can we have the third stanza? Stanza 3. Okay. I will not have the restless will that hurries to seeking for some great thing to do, thing to know. I would be treated as stretched out and guided I go. Shall we be seated? There are two organizations here. If there are any announcements for each one of us, or you would want to meet in caucus, it can also be done. But this is just the beginning of more interactions with ourselves. We'll be having similar and more lively interaction as we move on. And then the Lord help all of us to stay united. I have two materials to sell. 2 books. One, The Unction to Function. The Unction to Function. It's a nice material that when we have them in our libraries and we read them, it would help us. It goes for 30 cities. An Unction to Function. 30 cities. And then we have Retirement Musings. Retirement musings has to do with how to prepare yourself into retirement for those who are already working. And so it goes for 60 cities. It's from General Dan Frimpong. It goes for 60 cities. So anyone who is interested in any of these 2 books can see me and get copies. Any announcement for any one of us? Before the announcement, then I'll give the vote of thanks on behalf of the youth and then the men.
That's all. The youth will wait after here. And the men, we are done.
Right. Thank our resource persons for the beautiful interaction that we have had. We wish we could go on and on and on. For those who we saw going out, don't worry, you grow and also reach that stage. They can't drive at night, so they had to run away. It was not for anything. So please, that is what happened. They had to leave for obvious reasons. And we are very privileged to have you here. We thank you for the time you spent with us, for sharing your lives that have motivated many of us into doing better things. We believe that, as it is always said, the next time we call on you, you will not hesitate to come and then support us to do other programs. Once again, we thank you very much for making time with us. Thank you. The Youth Fellowship would wait behind and join the caucus, have a caucus meeting with your leadership. For the men, we have finished. So that will be the end. Can we have benediction from Osofo? Very Reverend Basal would give us the benediction, the closing prayer and benediction. They say it's been a long time we had you in front here.
With the permission of my brother, shall we please rise? Let us pray. Thank God for this opportunity to listen to these our resource persons, for the conversation that has been very wonderful. Let us commit ourselves to the Lord as we go back to our homes. Let us commit the night into the hands of God. May He keep us. May He strengthen us so that we get up again more nourished to continue to work for His glory. And so, Father, we thank you so much for this evening and for this fellowship. We pray that whatever that has been discussed here will guide us, especially the younger ones, to be able to choose a career that will bring honor to your name, will be a blessing to your families. We pray that bless the resource persons who were invited, that they will always continue to be available to be used to be a blessing to us. We thank you this evening and we bless you. Now the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the love of God, the blessing of the Holy Spirit abide with us today and forevermore. Go in peace and may the Lord be with us all. Amen.
Thank you very much.